Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Passion Within. We've got Meghan Meehan with us. We had her brother on a little earlier today, and he's the one that put Meghan's name down to come on today, and she didn't even know about it, okay, until her fiance saw her picture on YouTube and goes, honey, have you got something to tell me? Because Dennis didn't bother to tell her that this was going to happen, but after she found out, she's really excited about coming on, and I was really excited to have her coming on. She is just finishing up her education degree and is starting a school at the community barn. So, Meghan, with that little bit of an intro, maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we're going to get into your past and where you started as a child.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm Meghan. My brothers are Michael and Dennis. They were on here previously. And yeah, I love to write. I love photography. I love teaching. Being with little kids is just the sweetest thing to me. And yeah, I'm always with my family. I like for the barn, my contribution is I like to plan the events and kind of coordinate those. So yeah, that's kind of my things.
Oh, that's right on. So, okay, let's jump back to a little child, Meghan. And I asked your brother earlier today, what he did that really annoyed his parents. So, what did you do as a young lady that really annoyed your parents?
Well, when I was little, I loved to be the mom. And so I would always, like one night, Michael would never get like dessert because he would never finish his food. But I would always finish my food. And so I would always give Michael my dessert, even though he wasn't supposed to have his dessert. So I just kind of like to play the mom and dad role and kind of overstepped theirs. But yeah.
Well, and I'm sure you were very good at it because you're such a kind-hearted person that I'm sure your brother really appreciated, excuse me, getting that dessert when he didn't actually deserve it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, what are the other things that you did as a young girl, out on the farm? What were some of the things that Megan got into trouble with on the farm?
Um, I'm not sure. I feel like I've always been a really rule follower, but I think back to like when I was little, all I can remember is just going to my brother's sports games. That was a big part of our life, just following Dennis around and see what he was doing, which we all loved it. Is our favorite thing. But yeah, our family's always been just really, really close, and I think yeah, we're just always doing stuff together.
So, were you as sports minded as Dennis was, or did you take a totally different route right from when you were young?
I always did sports too. Yeah, three sports.
So, what was your favorite sport?
Softball for sure.
Okay, so what position did you play?
I played the outfield.
So, that would probably make you a really good runner.
I tried my best. I would always come to Dennis after practice and say, Dennis, I have to get better. What can I do? And he would try and put me through these sprints and these high knees things. And it was not my favorite at all, but I think it helped.
Well, the more you use those muscles, obviously, the better they develop. And, the old saying is if you don't use it, you lose it. So the more you use it, yeah, the better off you're going to be. So, following the older brother around, what did you do that annoyed your older brother?
I think everything I did annoyed him. um, I don't know. I was always in his business, always wanting to do everything that he did. Um, yeah, those are probably the big things.
Okay, so we're talking about you as a young woman still here. And what do you think drove you to be, you know, the outspoken person and the one that really pushed, into Dennis's life? What drove you to do that?
Um, I think being the older sister, I just really took being a sister and being a daughter, those roles really seriously. And I just always
Mhm.
wanted to show up and be the best sister and try and be the best daughter I could be.
Oh, that's amazing. Like, I'm sure, looking back, Dennis is appreciative of that now, but, he probably at the time might have been a little annoyed once in a while, right?
Oh, definitely.
What's the one thing that, looking back, was the key to, getting Dennis? I guess what I'm asking is, what was Dennis's button that you used to push on a regular basis?
Um, I think Dennis has always been really quiet and soft spoken. And I can be that way, but I really love to know everything everyone's thinking and how are you feeling? How was your day? Tell me all of it. And so I would
Mhm.
just like continually ask and ask and ask and be like, Megan, I need some space. So that was probably the big thing I would say.
Okay, and now when you ask him those questions, do you think he gets annoyed now at all?
I think now actually the roles are reversed. I think he's the one that asks all the questions and I'm the one just hanging back.
I can't see you being, in the background that much. I can see you, being really out there and being involved. Um, so you're young, you're beautiful, you have this passion for helping people, for sports, etc. Where did that lead you to in your high school days?
um, in high school, it was tough because my family, we had moved my eighth grade year. And so moving when you're kind of in that age group is really, really tough. And you don't, it's kind of hard to build friendships and things like that. Um, and so high school was, well, usually in high school years, you're trying to figure out who you are and all that stuff. But mine was like almost amplified because I was just so back and forth and just trying to figure all that out on top of it.
Hmm.
Um, so I was actually super, super quiet. I was actually voted most shy in my class. But yeah.
For some reason I just can't see it now, but yeah, back then, okay. So
Yeah.
you were shy when because you had moved, you didn't have any real friends, you were just starting to get back into the flow. Um, what is one of the biggest things for somebody who is facing that situation? Maybe they're moving their family, or you know they're dealing with that in with their children. What's one of the things advice you would give to them in dealing with that kind of situation with their child right now?
Well, I feel like the number one thing people told me was to get involved. And so
Hmm.
but I would take that like over seriously and I would try and get involved in every single little thing and I would just get drained. So I think I would say the opposite to that and just take it easy. Just do what makes you happy, spend time with family, um, and just relax. And things will naturally come if you stay in that relaxed, ease, flow state. Don't try and think about it or overdo it too much.
Okay, so you're really, stay in tune with your family and the love that's there as the grounding of your environment, but allow yourself to interact as much as you possibly can with the new environment.
Yeah. So I feel like looking back, now that I'm older, I feel like I was always trying to look outward to try and find things. But
Hmm.
I feel like all the answers are within. And so once we just um, become comfortable with ourselves and we search things that make us happy, we're not constantly trying to be friends with that person or do that thing or go to that birthday party and just let things come as they come.
Oh, that's a wonderful way to look at life, really. Have to be in touch and be acceptable within yourself, to be acceptable to others. Is like the old saying of, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, okay, so we're in university now, and what led you into, like, I know you said you're the mom figure. You always wanted to be that mom. Is that what led you into teaching or getting involved with wanting to be a teacher?
Well, actually, I started out as a writing major and photography major. I double majored,
Hmm.
and I really love writing and photography, but I didn't like how much we were on the computer for that major. Um,
Right.
so, and in the back of my mind, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, but for some reason, I want to try and pursue that first. But something
Mhm.
about it didn't feel right, and so I just followed that, and I went back to what I knew was right all along, just teaching. But I think I
Right.
knew that was right because nothing has ever felt as easy as it feels when I'm working with kids, or comes so naturally as when I'm teaching kids or working with them or just talking to them.
Well, exactly. And, one of the passions that you obviously have is, in sharing your knowledge and understanding. So, what grades are you educated for? I'm actually not even sure. In your education, is it specific to a certain grade level? Or when you're in university, do they teach it all and then you choose the grades that you want to work with?
My teaching degree is kindergarten through eighth grade, but I'm actually my nursery school will be 6 weeks to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I've mentioned this a few different times that, a child learns half of what they're going to know as an adult between 0 and 5. Is that what they're teaching in the schools now still?
Yes, success by the age 6.
So, in that first 5 years of life, you're going to be trying to pack in as much knowledge to these children as you possibly can. Um, where are you going to be focusing? I know, as I understand it, you're going to be doing this at the barn, so more of a community school, if I understand correctly, right?
Yep.
So, what are you going to be focusing on? Not just the basic skills. Are you going to be getting into the natural end of it, or how do you see that part of the future going?
So many things. I think the big things are just creating an environment that is full of love and positivity and following what makes you happy. Yeah, and it's all going to be nature based, so we're going to be outside all the time and just growing up with nature and being connected to nature.
Now, I'm not sure what silly Lily is thinking here. 6 weeks, what? I think it's the age is up to 6 years old, correct?
Yep, I'm going to start at 6 weeks old and go to 6 years old. So infants to 6 years old.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
how do you think like childhood interactions can be pretty let's say interesting? How are you seeing yourself handling, the interactions between, like, say, a child that's 2 years old and is like, why, to one that's 5 and 6 going, like, I don't bother me.
Yeah. Um, well, I think I love multi-age being together because it's just so sweet and they can learn so much from each other. Um, but I feel like if you're creating a space, an environment full of celebrating curiosity and celebrating helping each other find the answer and helping each other explore through that question, um, can build a lot of amazing friendships. I think it'll be really sweet.
Well, and you're building caring, sharing, and community with the student as you're teaching them. I think it was Sweden or Switzerland. They had an hour a day where that was the older children had to teach and help the younger children. And in that way, they were helping, everybody to develop the skills to help each other. I think that's is a beautiful way, to build that thought of caring, sharing, and community.
Yeah, and they recognize that they're all teachers.
Yes, and that's something that isn't really taught in today's school, that we're educating each other just by our reactions. Like, I was always like the class clown. I was always in trouble with my teacher because I knew too much about too many different things, and so I got called the learned fool in school, right?
Yeah.
How do you think you're going to handle somebody like me that's just generally annoying to a teacher?
No such thing. Um, I I'm so excited to see different personalities that come to the nursery school. Um, every personality is going to be celebrated and loved, and yeah, I think it's going to be wonderful.
Oh, I think I love your attitude on that because it's based on love. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to bring into the education system is love. And there is no difference in any of us. We're all human beings, and bringing that love and joy into the classroom, I think is something that is going to be very special. And I think that's something you're going to do and focus on, I think.
Yep, definitely.
So, in going to school and being in university, what do you think that is one of the maybe a problem or a good thing in how the education system at that level is functioning?
Big question. Right now, I'm actually student teaching in a second grade
Hmm.
class. So I'm around it every single day. But it's tough because in public schools, it's so needed to have mentors and teachers who are really in tune with celebrating the kids and getting creative with how we share and develop content lessons. And while I've been in the school and while I've been in the classes, it's just so heavy in worksheets and sitting at a desk all day. And
Hmm.
you can just kind of see how they're just so bored, and they kind of just like by how they're getting bored, you see behaviors happening and not staying focused, not being able to learn the content. Um, I feel like it just needs, it's lacking freedom and just creativity and being outside. But there still are so many wonderful things with public school.
So, how long have you been a teacher's aide so far?
I was one last semester for a whole semester at Montessori school, which is the awesomest experience. And then so far, I've been at a public school since the beginning of January.
And how are you finding the other teachers, in the school? Like, I know there was a real difference when I was going to school between the younger teachers and the older teachers, in just how they, their passion. The younger ones still seem to have passion, and the older ones had seemed to have it beaten out of them almost.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so far, I think it might be reversed now.
Mm.
So far, from my experience, I've noticed that the veteran teachers are just so excited to share all that they know with the younger teachers. Um, and it's almost like the everything at school now is like going to technology based and all those things. And so they still know what it was like to handwrite your morning message on the board and all these things. And so I feel like once that once those veteran teachers move on, it's going to be really, really strange inside schools with all these young teachers coming in, just because it's always going to grow and always going to change. Um, but I think one big thing I've noticed with teachers is that being a teacher is just so much work. And so teachers are just getting burnt out so fast, which is a really, really a bummer. Um, yeah, I think that's one of the big things schools need to work towards is just finding support and community for teachers. Um, yeah.
So, do you think that that may be something that you guys can offer at the barn? Bringing teachers out to, interact, with the environment and kind of, how would I say, decompress in a lot of ways. You think that might be something that you guys can offer?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, for my senior class at Thomas College, we had to do an inquiry project where we had to find something that we thought could be made better in the classroom. And so my project was to bring outdoor based learning into the classroom. But then I chose another project where I could focus on celebrating teachers and bring encouragement and bring them all together. And so I started these monthly gatherings. The first one is Sunday, the 26th of February. And
Hmm.
we're going to make little sun catchers out of driftwood. And just, I've invited everyone from my class at Thomas and then teachers that I look up to as well. Hopefully that'll make a difference.
Well, I hope that it does because, reconnecting with them and who they are, I think is something that a lot of teachers lose. Now, Neverwinter Farms had a question here. Has anyone mentioned Sloyd-based education? I'm not sure if you've
I've
heard of
never
that.
heard of it before.
Okay. Sorry, Neverwinter Farms, brother. I neither of us have heard of that one yet.
I'll
So
have to look into it though.
so what do you think is one of the keys to teaching the the children, younger children, um, in the type of education system that you're putting together?
Um, I think the big thing is I feel like teachers, they just put so much pressure on themselves to um, always be preparing lessons, always be getting ready for the week and the week after that. And it's just a lot of work having 17 plus students in a class of all different levels and all different interests, and trying to make it so they all understand each lesson. And when some are
Hmm.
falling back, of course, that's stressful. So I feel like teachers just put a lot of pressure on themselves. And I think that when you just step back and you realize every student's going to learn at their own pace, if we just provide the materials and offer them different ways to take it all in, and then just let them do that at their own pace. It'll all happen in the right timing. You just need to kind of take the pressure off of it.
And Neverwinter Farms is saying it's from the Nordic nations. It's teaching kids in early education how to build projects.
That's so awesome.
And in a lot of ways, I think that's going to be part of what you guys are focused on is, the outdoor projects. And I know that your brother had mentioned, teaching the kids how to grow, and then how to or plant the seed, to grow the plant, then harvest the plant, and then at the end of the school year, or the end of the year, you're going to bring the food to the parents and the family. Um, I think that's one heck of a project for the youth of today to really get in touch with.
Yeah, definitely. Bringing nature into it is a big part of it.
Well, I know when I was in school, one of the best things about my science class is when we would, go out into nature and look at things in nature to learn about it. I remember the first time we went out to what we called a slough hole, which is basically just a wet spot that standing water year round. And we had our microscopes and we were putting stuff under the microscope and seeing all this life running around. It's like, wow, this is amazing stuff.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
So obviously, I would think that you're going to have that kind of an availability at the farm. Have you guys looked at the different stuff that you're going to need, like microscopes, slides, that kind of stuff? Have you guys looked at that stuff yet?
Yeah, definitely. I have lists and lists of all the materials I want to get for all the different age groups. But I think the big things are we don't really need materials for it. Just going in the garden, planting seeds, observing
Hmm.
what's happening, walking around in the stream, walking in the fields, looking at all the wildlife, looking at the grass and the plants, all that stuff.
So, and of course, you're teaching the kids about caring, sharing, and community as you're building their education, especially when you're starting, so young, and bringing the kids up through. I think that what you're planning to do is absolutely amazing. Are there many schools like what you're looking at doing out there available in other places in the country?
I haven't really looked into it, but I think my nursery school is kind of Montessori inspired, and there's lots of Montessori schools, which is really, really awesome.
Okay, so you've got your you know I know in elementary or early learning here, it goes up to that 5 years old, and then you're basically starting school at 5 to 6. Is you Are you teaching it right up into the first grade at the 5 and 6 level, or you're taking it from zero to just before first grade?
I'm starting out with infants to 6 years old, and then eventually I'm going to grow into a preschool and kindergarten, and then eventually first, second, third grade.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. I'm hoping that you have lots of children that are able to stay with you right through up to that, third grade, because you're going to give them a foundation like very few children get in today's society.
Yeah, that would be really special. That's the goal.
Well, and that's fantastic because I think that should be the goal for all children and all, early development, not just, here's your bottle, here's your nap, leave me alone, kid. I want to go, you know, deal with this stuff over here. You're talking about really being more interactive, and you're going to be taking them out in nature. So are you going to be doing outdoor naps, in the garden, or how are you going to do that?
Definitely, we'll definitely have naps outside.
So how many teachers are you looking at having with you in your school? Because obviously, you can't do it all yourself, especially taking care of, all the different age groups.
Yep. I was starting out just me, and so I can have 8 kids just by myself, and then eventually, as I grow, I'll add on more people and more kids.
Well, that's fantastic. So is it something that the parents are paying you guys directly? Is this funded by the state, by the school board? How does that end of it work?
The parents pay me directly. Yep. It's going to be a private nursery school.
Okay, so is it going to be part of the private members association that the barn
Yep.
is set up?
Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic. It gives you a lot more flexibility than, what would be in a normal, government paid for and dictated to school.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what do you think are going to be your challenges going ahead? You've already talked about you've got all your lists put together, but what do you think are some of the challenges that you're going to be facing in putting this all together?
I think the big thing is that I'm actually a perfectionist, and so I like things to just go really, really smoothly. And so I know I'm gonna have days where everyone's just being fussy, and nothing seems to go to work out. But to just remind myself that they're gonna have these days, and I can just take a step back and just take deep breaths and help them feel those feelings, not get too caught up in it.
So, do you think it's going to be more of a problem for the kids, or you think it's going to be more of a problem for you when things don't go just so?
Oh, for me, they'll be teaching me, that's for sure.
Well, and at least you understand that it's a give and take when you're doing education.
Yeah, it definitely is, which is why it's so special.
Yes, exactly. So, your challenge for you is going to be accepting that, the only true thing is everything changes on a moment to moment basis.
Yeah, definitely.
So, are you putting together basic lesson plans, or is it just basically you're going to allow it to happen as it happens?
I'm definitely a planner, and so I'll definitely be planning lessons. But I feel like at that small of an age, it's more just stage development. So whatever stage they're at,
Hmm.
just really focusing on those skills like sitting up, walking, making sounds, looking at colors, color recognition, things like that.
So, do you have your brothers starting to build little blocks and stuff like that, or
That's the goal. And while I was at Montessori, I was gifted by the head teacher some Montessori supplies, which is really cool.
Fantastic. Glad to hear it. So I've never really heard of Montessori before, so maybe explain a little bit more on that as a whole, please.
Montessori is very student led, and so students kind of decide what they learn when they learn it, and also very outdoor based, which is really awesome.
So basically, the students, excuse me, the students are going to be dictating the lessons as they develop themselves. And if you're having the students interact and teach and share, they're going to be developing, the lesson plan as the day goes by.
Yeah, exactly. They just have materials all laid out all over the room, and then they just choose the materials they want to use to learn that lesson.
So in a lot of ways, is it really, I don't want to use the term lesson, but I don't want to use the term play either, because it's more structured than that. But is it more of a joyful way of learning?
Oh, definitely, because I think one of the biggest problems with public school is that everyone is on the same timeline, kind of,
Hmm.
and they're all given the same, whether it be worksheet or project they all have to accomplish. And some kids, they just either don't connect with what they're been given, or they just can't sit still and complete a worksheet or a project. So they need those hands-on materials. And the great thing about Montessori is that you're given all those materials right in front of you, and it's all hands-on, and you get to decide how you learn best and what you need to do. Um, but it is really up to the teacher how they provide those materials and how they share those materials. Um, yeah, it's definitely. I almost want to say you get more freedom as a Montessori school teacher. And you get to be a lot more creative too with how you share the lessons. I feel like
Hmm.
in public school, there's just kind of one out of three ways to share the same lesson, but it makes it really tough when you have a class of different learners who learn differently.
Yeah. Well, and the different speed of learning. But Matthew's asking, it's interesting how much per year now, a days for a Montessori, sorry for the misspelling. And then is it about the same cost as, say, private school education? But he's saying the concept is definitely interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't looked into how much video schools cost, but that is a bummer. Is how it's not so easily available to every kid because of the cost.
So, what is going to be the cost for somebody that's going to be bringing a child to your school?
For my school, it's kind of like childcare because it's such young ages. So mine will be $250 a week.
And I think that's pretty reasonable. I know a lot of parents that pay a lot more than that to have their children in a daycare.
Yeah.
So, in your area in Maine, do you have a lot of people that are already interested in what you're setting up, or are you still in the marketing phase of it?
I have so many people who have reached out to me, which is just the coolest thing. I have a like I'm really good at like getting things to kind of explaining my ideas and things like that. But when it all
Mhm.
seems to be actually coming to fruition, it's just the coolest thing. And so seeing people actually interested in wanting to bring their kids makes it all feel real.
Well, I think part of it, Megan, is you exude this passion. And when you do that, you're able to connect with other people, and it's your passion going, yes, I want my child to hang out with Megan all day because look at how lovely she is. And she's just, it's like, handing my child off to my grandmother. I know she's going to take care of my children.
Yeah, it's so important. I think one of the big things for me was just knowing that I want to be a mom someday and have tons and tons of kids. I just know that I want that quality of care out there to be so special and so good. And I feel like the quality of nursery schools and childcare is lacking, and there's just not very many. And even the places that are really awesome, it's just they're so booked out, and it's hard to get your kid in. Um, so I feel like there's always room for more really good nursery schools.
Well, and I think that's what you're going to be creating. And I think as you grow and you can bring more people with your mindset in and can expand and expand, I think that you're going to do phenomenally well.
Thank you.
Well, it's that passion, young lady, and it just, every time you smile, you can just see the light come on. It's like, you're just so heartfelt and so heart centered on this. I can't see where anybody wouldn't want to have you helping educate their child.
Yeah, it's so sweet. I'm really lucky, and I feel really grateful for having this as a career and as a passion.
So, do you think you're going to be like Mama Bear? Because I know Dennis was talking about that, where Mama can be a little, how shall we say, uh, up in arms if somebody is doing something wrong to her children.
Oh, definitely. I still get that way with my siblings. If anyone says anything that's not 100% kind, I'm like, but I always tell Nathaniel if anything ever happens with our kids, I know I have to go to you to keep the calm, cool, collective.
So you basically telling him, honey, hold me back before I do something I don't want to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then he's going to be a very good balance for the whole situation.
Yeah, we balance each other out really good.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that's something like I have a wonderful life and wife that she balances me out and keeps me in line. And it's probably a really good thing, or I'd probably get in a lot more trouble than I do.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, okay, so we've covered a lot of it. But you've already said you know some of the things that are working. You've already got a lot of interest, etc. What are some of the other things that are working with putting all of this together?
um, I think the big thing is just getting more experience with working with little kids. Because right now I'm student teaching in a second grade class. And
Mhm.
even though that's a really awesome experience, my love right now and passion is with the babies and the toddlers. And so just getting the most experience that I can with them until it kind of comes.
So, do you have any children or babies that you're working with right now?
Well, for the past year and a half, I was working in the infant room at the Boys and Girls Club before I switched over to the K2 room. Um,
Hmm.
but that's how, before I had worked in there, I was always planning on teaching second or third grade at a regular school. Then I went into baby's room and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is where I belong. Everything about it is just the greatest thing, and nothing like what I was saying about teaching. Nothing has ever come so easy and naturally. And even when things were all up in the air and every baby was crying, every baby was needing something, I was just like, this is the best thing ever. And so that's how I kind of knew that was my age group.
Okay, now Silly Lily wants to point something out, and it's a story that I tell. Ken tells the story of how he was a toddler. He was found at the top of a street light. He climbed up and was sitting on top. Firemen were called to fetch him down.
Oh
What
my
would you do in that kind of a situation with a nutcase like me that just my brother and sister went to school. It was before I was going even in preschool. So I was like 3.5, 4 years old. And I wanted to know where my brother and sister were going. And being a farm boy, we just moved to the city and I
goodness.
climbed a light pole. What would you do with a kid like me?
I would call Nathaniel.
Honey, honey, help.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that I think a lot of parents are going to be concerned about is what's your medical training, like if their child falls down and gets hurt, breaks a leg, an arm. Do you have first aid training? What do you have on that side of the equation?
Yeah, to work in childcare, you need to be certified or do all those trainings. So,
Well, that's good because then scrapes and scratches are one thing, but broken bones are something totally different.
yeah, definitely.
So, what do you think are going to be some of the challenges that you're going to be facing with getting all of this together?
Um, I don't know. I feel like so far it's all been so easy, and I feel like I know there will always be tough things that happen, but I feel like even the hardest things, it's just going to be like it's teaching me something, and it's making me stronger, and it's just bringing me closer to my dream. And so I feel like I won't consider any of the challenges to really be challenges.
Hmm. So, if you're not looking at them as challenges, um, or you're looking at it as in a different way than a challenge, but more of a learning experience, What do you think are some of the things you still need to learn to make this, take it to the next level?
Um, I feel like building a portfolio of having just some really awesome materials and how to present those materials and gathering all of everything I'll need for the nursery school between cribs and blankets and cups and plates and silverware and all the toys and all of it.
So are you going to be teaching the children how to create their own crafts, like making dolls out of grass and things like that? Are you crafty like that?
Yeah, I love crafts. And my little sister too. She is the most creative person that I know, and so she'll definitely be over a lot doing crafts with the kids.
Okay, so I'm not sure if this which brother or if this is dad. So proud of you, Megan. I'd say it's probably dad. Do we need to do a fundraiser to raise money to build your new day nursery school?
Yeah, that's my brother. And yes, we always need fundraisers, always need to raise money.
I think that's for anything out there that you're not asking for government money and you don't want to ask for government money, you need to raise the funds for it. But I think that if you reach out to your community, you've already have people that are interested in the children being taken care of by you. I think you won't have too much of a problem touching hearts because I can feel the love and care that you have for what you're going to be doing, and it's that really allows you to have people open up their wallets and say, yes, please, I want this for the children. And it doesn't matter even if they don't have children. You can reach out to the grandmas and grandpas that are going to want to help you, and you can reach out for the toys that way too. And some of those older people, they might help you even make toys and games and stuff. That might be something that you want to think about.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm most excited for, is just sharing what I'm trying to build with the community, and getting to experience it all and bring them all in on the whole experience of when we first start building it to 2 years into already having it.
Mhm.
I think that's something that is going to be just the best part is just getting to know the families and getting to bring communities in and getting to have garden days with the kids and just yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So basically, as a daycare, partial education system, this isn't something where you're going to be taking the 2 months off for summer. This is going to be, 365, 7 days a week, almost kind of a situation for you.
Yeah, definitely.
So, with that being said, when do you think you're going to be able to take some time off for you and your husband or soon to be husband, to get away on the odd little vacation? Do you got the little sister and the brothers that are going to step in and help out?
Yeah, they're gonna be around all the time. Dennis already told me that he's gonna be in during nap time and rocking all the babies to sleep. But yeah, everything that we do is a team effort, and we're all hands in for everything for support everyone what all their goals are.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you guys have such wonderful goals on the whole perspective of the community barn and what you guys are doing, and whether it's in the cannabis, whether it's in fruit and vegetables, whether it's just in growing and education. You guys are this wondrous family that I've had the chance to meet, and I have one more sister and mom to get on the podcast, but we'll get them yet. I'm sure of that. But
Just put it on YouTube, they'll see it.
we'll just have Dennis book them and say, oh, by the way, mom, you have to be sitting here at this time today.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder how she would react to that. I just make sure there's no baseball bats or 2x4s in the area.
Yep.
Well, it's just a fascinating story that your family has. And, it's because you guys are such wonderful people that you're doing what you're doing and bringing it to your community and the surrounding area. It's just such a joy to be able to interact with you guys and to bring what you guys are doing out to a greater audience. Like this video is going to be on YouTube for as long as there's YouTube. And so people are going to be able to see in the future just who your family is and the benefits that they bring to everyone that you guys interact with. I think it's truly an amazing journey that you guys have not only been on, but that are in the process of being on, and the future for your entire family and everything you guys are doing is just amazing.
Yeah, it's a really special thing just trying to build with my family. Um, because it's so fun to just try and bring everyone together and seeing how happy it is every single time when the barn is filled with kind and loving people. It's really special. It's our gift.
And it is a gift. And I think the more people that come and interact with you guys, the more people realize just how much of a gift that you guys have truly created with what you've done.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, how are you drawing more people in? Like you guys have the honey pot coming up that is, I think, in a few weeks. And you guys are doing regenerative farming, you're doing meditations. How are you bringing these people in? Are you guys doing flowers, flyers? Is it word of mouth? How are you guys generating, contact with new people?
I think that is definitely the trickiest thing so far is just getting people to come by. But we've just been using social media a lot and just
Mhm.
hoping by people sharing it that they'll see it. And we make a lot of flyers too.
So are you guys going to be doing, farmers markets, that kind of a thing, outside of the barn in other communities to bring more awareness, or are you guys just focusing on bringing people to the barn?
I think both. Actually, one of our big goals this summer is to have a farmers market at the barn.
Well, you guys should look at doing, swap and sells and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have the whole community come out and do something on those lines. I know we've got a few things like that around here that do actually quite well.
It's awesome. That'd be really cool.
So, where do you think some of the other challenges are, not just in what you're doing, but in what everybody else is doing and creating on the property you guys are on?
Um, I think the hardest thing right now is um, I feel like everyone I feel like is just going through something right now. Like everyone there's always so much happening in the world that it's almost
Hmm.
hard to slow down and all gather together. Because there's just so many responsibilities and so many things on our to-do list and um, so many things pulling our attention away from just slowing down and being with family and being with friends.
Well, I know that your dad is really into the water research and on that end of it, and working with the tribes in California around, I think it's Clear Lake or Clean Lake.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, he's really focused on that. So how are you guys helping each other? Like, is there something that, as a community we can actually, do to help you guys, to because you guys are helping us, is there something we can do to help you guys?
I think just talking about it and just sharing the barn with everyone that you know, and yeah,
So basically, anybody that watches this video, share it out, get more people involved. If you're a speaker and you have that ability to teach things, reach out to them and maybe become part of, the people that they have coming to their events. I think that would probably be something that would help out as well, would it not?
Yeah, definitely.
So what kind of speakers are you guys actually looking for? Are you guys looking for people to come out on a monthly basis, or even somebody to come in and maybe teach music? Or I know you guys have music events, I think twice a week, Dennis was saying.
Yeah, we do. We're always looking for people to come in who are just excited about gathering with community and excited about bringing their gifts to share with everyone. And so we're like always, anytime, come by and we'd love to talk to you.
So when are you guys going to start dance competitions?
I know we have to.
Oh, I was giving Dennis a hard time. He said he's so good, but he's so good with his feet. I said, well, dancing time now,
Now, that would be awesome.
So what's your favorite type of dancing?
I don't know. When I was little, I did hip hop, and I always loved that. Haven't done it in a while though.
So, what's your favorite thing that the family is doing right now on a weekly basis that people are coming out to interact with? What's your favorite thing?
I think the paint nights. I really love the paint nights.
Well, you said that you were a writer and an artist, so that really matches with something that you were passionate and still probably are passionate about. What kind of things did you write?
I love just writing about what I'm learning about in life right now, and then just sharing that with people, hoping that it'll give them perspective.
Do you have a blog that people can go to?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. What is it?
I think it's meganmeehan.home.blog.
Okay. Now, is there a link on either of the Instagram pages where people could find that?
Yep, there's on the Instagram, I believe.
Okay, good, good. Because that's something that we can promote as well is, getting more people to read what you're writing. I used to write a little bit of poetry and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Did you get into that kind of writing?
I haven't, but I love to read poetry.
Well, I know I do a lot of free verse. I don't do much with rhyming and stuff like that since I was
Yeah,
in school, but I just like to allow things to flow naturally, which is what what we're supposed to do. Life is supposed to be natural.
exactly. Definitely.
So do you do a lot in the meditation end of things?
Yeah. I wish I'm always need to practice. It's so hard for me to just quiet my mind. So I'm always practicing it. Um, but I love learning how to meditate. And my dad has gotten so good at it recently. Like he can just instantly go into meditation. And so I'm learning a lot from him.
So that's very, very hard to do, to just sit down and just, I'm there.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't do that yet.
Yeah. Me either. I'm a long ways from there. But every day I'm
Yeah.
getting better.
Well, and it's practice, right? Just like with everything else.
Yep.
So, what is something that you would like to tell everybody? Basically, let's say call it a fun fact about Meghan.
Hmm. Um, hmm. I don't know. um, what kind of fun facts? Like,
Well, you jumped off a building. You used to go
I'm
skinny
too
dipping in the river. Fun, something funny.
I'm too boring for that.
Oh, I find that hard to believe. I bet you if I asked your fiance, he would come up with something that you do that's fun.
Oh my. Um, hmm. Probably that when I was little, actually, I was riding down right next to my house. There was a long hill, and I was riding
Mhm.
down my friend, and my friend jumped off the trike. And so when she jumped off, it got really uneven. And so I went flying over the handlebars and I scraped my 2 front teeth off.
You scraped them off.
Yeah.
So then, that song, all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth, relates to you.
Yep, that was very much what I needed.
See, now that's a fun fact. That's one of those little tidbits that nobody probably, I don't know. Does your fiance even know that story?
Yeah, he does.
Okay. So that's not one. Okay. Here's one. I got one, a good one. What is something that your mom and dad are going to bring up at your wedding that you are going to go, oh God, I thought you'd forgotten that?
um, Probably. Well, this isn't very crazy, but when I was little, I had a best friend who was a few years older than me, and she had just gotten potty trained, and I was still in diapers. And she
Mhm.
came over and she was telling me how she wears big girl undies now. And so I walked inside and I said, Mom, Sabrina is potty trained. And she goes, Yeah. And I said, I want to wear big girl undies. And so she went out to the store and got me big girl undies, and I never went, I just always went on the toilet and was potty trained. Pretty
Well,
cool.
there, and it was the state of your mind. You said, nope, this is done. I'm done. I'm ready for this.
Yep.
So what if there was something right now that you could use that mindset for, where it was like, okay, I need to do this, I'm going to do it, what would that be?
Um, I think student teaching. I've been super hesitant so far in my experience with student teaching. Um, I think just because I'm like already so in my new day nursery school that it's hard for me to just be where I am right now and kind of take everything out of experience that I can. So just reminding myself that I'm here for a reason. I get to learn what's trying to teach me.
And Silly Lily wants you to talk about your books. Okay, Megan, talk about your children books.
Yes, I love to write, and I have the biggest collection of children's books. And I have started 3 or 4 children's books, and I have finished a few of them, but I haven't done anything with them. But that's my goal: is definitely publish a few children's books.
Well, that's wonderful. You're going to do self-publishing, I would think.
Yeah.
So did you do all the artwork for your books?
No, my little sister Angel A. She's the artist in the family.
Okay, well, when I get her on, I'm going to have to ask her about her artwork.
Yep, exactly.
So what kind of artwork did you do when you were doing doing artistry?
Well, I really love photography, and so I would
Oh,
more so
right.
do photography. And she's always the painter and the drawer and all that stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you guys are have such diverse talents throughout the family. Um, I want to ask about the crystals that the boys put in that kept your mom up. She thought it was, some generator was going on. Did you feel that kind of stuff when they did that?
Always, always. It's almost like the house is just getting rejuvenated, and the house just seems fresher and cleaner and happier. Every time they would plant something or do something different to the garden, it was really a cool experience.
So do you think they should keep doing that, or do you think it's something that everybody should do? Should they be teaching that? Should you be teaching that?
Oh, definitely. They have to teach it. Dennis and Michael, they're so, I think, timid to share with everyone. They always say, we have so much more we have to learn before we start sharing. But I think they're ready right now to just share with the world everything they know.
I have to agree with you, because those two boys know so much that they know in just intrinsically, and understand just naturally that most people don't have a clue exists in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
And like Lily is saying, energy, frequency, vibration, Nikola Tesla.
Yeah,
Is Nikola Tesla taught in schools nowadays?
he is. Yeah. At least when I was in school. Been a few years.
Oh no, you're still in school. You're just at a different level of education.
Yeah.
I remember the story of him putting the frequency vibrator on the steel beam in the building he was living in and almost bringing the damn building down.
Yep.
I always loved that story. It was really, amazing that that is possible. So that's basically in a lot of ways what the boys are doing with the crystals. They're bringing that energy and that frequency and that vibration into the barn, and it's just an aura, I believe, that is surrounding the whole family, which I think is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it really is the coolest thing.
So at the end of the show, I like to ask one question. Thanks, Hillbilly. Um, what would you have to say to the youth of today about the passion it takes to find their path in life?
Um, I think that it's easy to get caught up in worrying about what everyone else thinks we should do, or worrying what everyone else is doing. And I think that if we're able to really become steadfast in who we are and where we're headed, and just slow down and follow what makes us happy, we'll always be brought to all of our gifts, and we'll be able to just always bring to light everything that we want to do.
And I think that's part of what you're going to be teaching every child that is going to be at your school is that philosophy.
Yeah, definitely. That's the goal.
Oh, you're just such a wonderful young lady, and I thank you so much for coming on, sharing who you are and your dreams, and this goal that you have for taking the children that you're going to be interacting with to a whole new level of understanding.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Thank you.
Now, I know we talked to Dennis, and he had mentioned all the different events. Do you have something in particular that you're doing specifically that you would like to mention?
Um, I think probably the teacher gatherings that we're having. Um, I don't know. I think it's just so important for teachers, but everyone's a teacher, whether it be if in the
Mhm.
classroom teaching or another way. Parents, coaches, everyone's a teacher. So just getting eligible to gather together and celebrate each other, and just really be surrounded in positivity and encouragement is so important. I feel like that's lacking a lot these days.
So, when is your teacher event, and are you going to be doing these on a regular basis?
Yep, they're once a month. For this month, it's the 26th, and next month it's the 26th also.
Well, fantastic, and I think that's something that anybody that is going to be in Maine and that is a teacher should actually, check out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I've already said thank you to you, young lady. I'm going to say thank you to our audience, the people that were here on live chat. I know we've got some people on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are amazing. We can't do this without you guys and your participation. Of course, thank you to Silly Lily for you guys that know, who don't know, you don't know. But and that's as far as I'm gonna say that one. But you guys are amazing. We've got some more shows coming up. Not until Monday. We've got the OG's Power Hour. And then we've got Dr. Av Singh, Leighton Morrison on the Soil Matters with Josh and Kelly from Dragonfly Earth Medicine. We've got Fish Brew coming on later in the week. And I'm going to get his name right this time. Clayton is coming on. He's a soil food web practitioner, and he's actually teaching as well. So those are shows that are coming up next week. I appreciate all you guys for being here. And unless you have something further to say, young lady, I'm going to end the broadcast.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, then I'm going to hit the end